Hey, welcome to Hive45, a discussion about the future impact of this week's tech and world news leading towards the singularity. I'm Nathan Waters.
I'm Tristan Grace.
Welcome. So as you know, we've kind of made we're doing separate episodes now, so we're just going to jump straight into the singularity topic. There's other ones that are about stories that have happened in the last week. There's 4 of them, I think.
Really good ones as well. One about plants, connecting the plant to the machine, and then tattoos that you record everything, and then plant labs, and then swarm intelligence, and
go check
really
them out.
Good stuff, actually.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Yeah. It's Hive45. Hive.
Okay. Anyway, big one. This one is about Ray Kurzweil and love.
Yeah, he's he was in this interview. The article's boring. It's titled "Evolution is a Spiritual Process," an interview with Ray Kurzweil, and it does the typical
fucking post.
I fell on the train tracks and dropped my shit. What is that? Who cares?
You have to apply the human element to it. Because it's computers and they scare people.
Anthony Adams. But then it gets into the later stuff. And there's this one quote which, and this is the main way I found this article. There's a Singularity Network, just Facebook group.
On Facebook, join it. Really
good.
good.
There's like 1,600 people in there. Like, the Facebook group is really not the best place to have these kind of discussions because this thing has like 144 comments and it's just whoa, what?
Yeah.
It's so hard to read and horrible.
But some good people there, really good people there. Yeah, so definitely come and check out the group.
So I may as well just read what this guy...
read the quote at the top and then we can start talking about it because we'll just do that briefly and then go into our opinions and stuff.
Yeah. So it says, and you can view it in an evolutionary perspective that there is actually value in us connecting to each other because it leads to better protection of the species if we actually create communities based on love and act as a superorganism as opposed to every individual for him or himself, which is actually not a good strategy overall. So he was talking about, basically, because that was a lead-in into AIs doing pattern recognition in terms of will AI love, will they know what love is, blah, blah. And what is love?
Crappy question.
What is love? What is love? Human love.
It's stupid.
It's stupid. Quote him.
Exactly. No. It's
love is stupid.
It's an emergent phenomena. It's it's evolutionary programmed into us. So we'll stick together and go from there. I mean, applying that to a
replicating.
Exactly. I mean, applying that to like a superorganism or a hive mind, I think is very silly. I don't think it'll love in that way.
Yeah, it doesn't need to.
No, it doesn't need to. But I do like how actually bringing up the idea of everyone connecting and worrying about that and talking about what the big hive mind will actually be when it's all connected and all working there together. Because out of the 147 comments has been a very interesting discussion actually in there about what the future will look like, how the future society could be organised around the superorganism. And people are arguing about collectivism compared to
communism and stuff.
Communism and capitalism, and you get into it about if you're going to focus on the individual, getting them actually getting everything that they want, or if you're going to focus on the hive, the collective.
Yeah.
So a good back and forth there. But
that's how I thought that maybe love is the individual trying to influence others to get what they want.
Yes. How?
Or something like that.
With sex. So where do you stand? Let's go our view here. Let's say there is a superorganism or the hive mind. I'm just going to use the word hive mind. I so prefer that better.
Explain that a bit.
Acting like a... Well, do you want to explain it?
No.
Okay, the hive mind is pretty much a superorganism, but it's a way of people working together, kind of like a beehive, which is a good metaphor to start with, but applying that on a global level. So you can say that the machine's actually fully connecting in with us, permanent connecting to the internet, and connected with everyone else. If you're sharing everything that you do, the way that you interact will actually be in a more collective type state, because you'll see exactly what everyone else is doing right now. So you'll act as a superorganism or a hive mind.
Individual nodes working on a particular platform, even in their own self-interest, will create emergent phenomena. Like the global economy, that's a hive mind. The internet, that's a hive mind. And there's no individual can tell you what it is or how it works.
Exactly, it's an emergent phenomenon. It's a great way, and we see it a lot at the moment. Say with forums and a lot of different. There's lots of little projects around, or lots of little big communities really that.
Facebook,
Reddit, like Twitter, a lot of the big ones there that have emergent phenomena, which you can say is kind of like the hive mind.
Unexpected consequences and blah blah blah.
Exactly. So, do you think it's going to be more individualized or collective, or what's the future hold?
Well, I think I kind of agree with Kurzweil in that there's obviously far more benefit in us grouping together to solve problems and to even just for socializing and whatever, which I guess is still kind of solving a problem, than being individual and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about how hive minds are kind of going to almost kill off individualism and replace it with more of a collectivistic type nature. And even we were talking before about how East and West kind of ideologies and philosophies, where East is kind of more communist, but in like collectivism, less emphasis on the individual, and West is kind of more capitalist, lots of focus on the individual.
I disagree a little with it, like saying it's going to remove individualism. I think it's going to be, especially as we move into, say, I think the big stepping stone is going to be when we look at a society based around abundance rather than scarcity. That's where we can actually start getting more of the hive mind to go there, because then it's just about creating knowledge and, you know, furthering it, going on with. I mean, we could talk for ages about what a hive mind would actually want, but I'd probably not get into that at the moment.
Yeah, we're focusing on love here, aren't we?
Sure. I'm focused on the difference between the collectivism versus the...
We should play like a corny background love music or something this whole time.
Wind beneath my wings.
Yes! Yes! That is going to be playing at some point. Sorry, keep going.
Sorry. In relation to the collectivism versus the individual, I think what we're going to end up seeing is more and more of a progression towards anything that the individual wants to do to help them will also end up helping the collective. So it's kind of like forced collectivism. I mean, capitalism gets a little bit of that now, but you've got the externalities that, you know, like poisoning the earth and so on and so forth. The profit motive. I mean, so what we'd probably end up seeing is that by acting for your own self-interest, you actually are benefiting the collective. Or if you just do want to benefit the collective, then you can do that by acting in your own self-interest.
I mean, the platform needs to be kind of reworked.
Exactly.
The Hive, the internet or whatever, needs to be reworked to encourage collectivism but still motivate individualistic desires.
I still think you need to have like the points and the game aspect, kind of like, you know, the economy now with money and things. I still think there needs to be like a numerical representation, because, you know, for people just wanting to feel like, oh, I'm doing really well and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But it could be of all different things maybe, or it doesn't have to be a centralized one, although it probably will end up being that.
What if it goes the other way of like that Spur's been kind of talking a bit about lately in this really old cloud. It's still individualistic numbers, but the collectivism comes about because you influence the collective.
Yeah, that's what I really, really like, is that your influence over the big mind is actually showing that. So you could say, look, I'm this much of the collective.
But that term of collectivism where it's individualistic benefit with this number that goes up, but you're only adding to the collective because you're manipulating them into doing what you want. But then I guess everyone else is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be more the kind of altruistic motive of like, I want to help the hive?
But the only way you can manipulate people or actually get them to do things is by actually doing what they want. Because they're actually, they're manipulating you, because you actually get the most points by actually helping the hive the most. So that's kind of the self-feedback mechanism. That's what I mean. Like, you know, the individual always works really well for about their own score, but for them to actually get the highest score is helping the hive mind in the biggest way.
Okay.
So that's kind of the number there. You get the biggest number by helping out the most amount of people.
Do you reckon to go that way?
I think it will. I think that's a nice, easy way to go.
It's already going along that that curve, like probably within a decade.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's going to be very big very soon. One thing I am a little bit concerned about, I haven't really thought about it too much, is but the idea of natural monopolies arising when we have, like, you know, total abundance. Because that's where you could actually start to see separations of the hive mind, like, you know, to have their actual hubs. So say, even at the moment, we'll say like a lot of people who are very specialized in, say, building robots or, like, you know, robotics, you could actually have them all forming a hub or their own hive mind within the greater hive mind, and then now start, you know, feeding back until they've got great things.
Then they create a monopoly.
Yeah, then that could be a monopoly on the information, like if they start not leaking it out. I mean, there will be a whole new structure emerging. Yeah. And that's where it'll be interesting to see how that's...
No, but wouldn't you get into that idea of like it's more beneficial to share again?
To share everything, yeah, I agree.
It's more beneficial to share, it's more beneficial to work with others.
Yeah.
It's more beneficial to be global than local.
To share everything will be the most beneficial way. But I guess I think that'll be the way, but I mean, if a natural monopoly could emerge, I can't see how it could, but if it could, then that could make things a lot more interesting.
Yeah, you'd have to... The only way you could do that is you'd have to, like, sequester all the knowledge, all the individuals, and say, you can't share any information outside of this bubble.
Yeah, which would be stupid, because then, the other ones would go really well.
Like, no one would want to do that.
No.
Anyway, what was the original point of this?
The evolutionary perspective about connecting us to each other.
Oh, yeah, whether it'll be... good strategy or not. Obviously, it's a good strategy.
It's a very good strategy. Connecting ourselves together is the big end goal.
Yeah.
I mean, the one we talked about before about the plants, like, you know, having everything recorded and connected in. That's the exact same thing with us now, that we've got to share everything about us with the machine, and then there can start being a collectivism based on that. Like, people start working out structures that we can share that information that we've got there.
Yeah.
Use that information, not share. If we share everything, then people work out how to use that information to create feedback mechanisms to actually get even more emergent phenomena.
Yeah.
It'd be good fun.
And our ultimate end game, which I still think is the end game for humans, is if you connect every single neuron in every human brain to the internet, all you have to do is get BCI, connect the brain to the internet, then you essentially get to the point with nanotech where every single neuron is connected to every other neuron anywhere in the world. So if one fires in my brain, that could start another firing elsewhere.
You might see a natural monopoly there by the latency. So all the smart people all end up being in there, and so then you have to be really close to the center as possible to get the least amount of latency.
Yes.
That could happen. That's kind of fucked, but...
Yeah. Whoa. Wow.
Because, I mean, we're already operating on the speed of light. And we already have to configure that for around the Earth.
The share market stuff.
Exactly.
The high frequency trading, having to like put their servers
in the middle of the fucking ocean,
specific places. Yeah, we'd put individuals in.
Yeah, so you'd always work yourself as close as possible to get to the center, so you're getting the blasted with the most information.
Here's the thing, and you want to stay in one spot.
Oh god, yeah. You wouldn't move at all. Just there. Because you've got everything coming in. It's like the city of the future, except there'll be just one city where all the minds are all just connected.
It's like if the absolute perfect place for me is right here on this couch, I'm not going to move.
But the perfect place would be as connected to as many other people as possible, so you'd cram them in as much as possible. You'd create structures. You'd create like farms or like towers, spheres of people. God. You'd create a sphere. A sphere would be the greatest way, because then you're getting the minds as close as possible. You go further than that, you start removing the body, so then the brains can actually start getting even closer and closer together. You remove the face, you remove just so it's the neurons there, and all the neurons start actually squeezing closer and closer together until you're literally ending up with a sphere of neural connectivity all there, and it's as close as possible. One brain, yeah. Because you want to get as close as possible to get that millisecond faster. It'd be good fun.
Would you put this in one
Well, one location would be the best.
Just the idea of having like a structure where it's this dome is just weird to me.
It is weird,
like,
but...
wouldn't you turn the whole Earth into like that's the brain somehow?
You would, but still within the brain, like if we're worrying about latency and how long it takes to actually get the idea there, you'd want to be as close as possible to all the other smartest people so the ideas are quicker, even if it is like by a microsecond.
Wow.
Sphere of neurons. Look it up.
And you make
Tell
it
your
really
friends.
dense.
Yeah, really dense.
Well, as soon as you describe that, it's like, oh, we'll just stack them on top of each other. Like, that's just the Matrix towers.
Yeah, it is. But then you go further because you remove the body and you just have like, just floating brain.
Yeah. Well, even now, imagine if we could, our brain now, imagine if we could make it denser.
Yeah.
Like your
brain's pretty dense already. Well, we would. Like, I mean, once we actually understand the brain, I mean, like, it's the final black box, then we can actually start reverse engineering it, making it better and better.
Yeah.
Exciting.
It's exciting, but...
Terrifying.
Yeah.
We really are living through just the greatest change ever. That the Earth's ever seen, that the universe has seen, to our knowledge, so far.
But it'll happen so gradually, people won't care.
No. Like, of course I can talk to my phone.
Of course I live in a box in a tower so I can be closer to everyone else.
What are you, daft? Like, fuck you!
Of course I live in what do you call it, a brain sphere.
A brain sphere, yeah.
Yeah, of course I live in a brain sphere.
Why not?
What else, man?
I love that
Gotta get my status update out there fast.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway. It's good fun. Oh, you've got to come along to the Singularity Conference.
Oh, yeah.
Very important, very great.
We're going to be there. We're going to be the sexy people in the seats somewhere.
It's going to be great. I'm just going to wear a tank top, nothing else. For the whole thing. They'll be gyrating. You ask me to gyrate, I'll do it for you.
Yeah. I'll wear nipple tassels.
Oh, yeah.
And just like, what are
they? And Jeff's going to be our
budgie
gimp.
Smugglers. Yeah, so Jeff can wear the hat.
No, he's going to be the gimp.
Oh, the gimp. I thought you said pimp.
We can be the pimp as well, yeah. Anyway, seriously, it's actually going to be really awesome. Down in Melbourne this weekend.
There's Ben Goetzel, there's
lots of people.
David Chalmers, there's Lawrence Krauss, and there's...
Adam Ford. He's going to be there too.
There's Adam Ford. Who's the other big guy that keeps scouting? I forget.
There's all the pictures.
It's like Steve off the Mon...
Oh, is Hugo coming?
Oh my God.
Hells yeah! Hugo's coming! Hugo DeGaris. He's the bomb.
I thought he wasn't coming.
Yeah, I thought so too.
He's going to be at the... They're having something on Thursday, but we're not going to be at it.
I know.
We booked our
lightning
flights for
talks.
Friday.
So come on Thursday if you can, which is tomorrow.
There's the other big guy. There's Steve Omohundro.
Yes.
The other guy that in the poster.
It'll be good fun.
So
We'll catch you there.
Bye. Oh wait, sorry, Nathan Waters.
Tristan Grace. And I didn't just salute. I'm so sorry. I'm more embarrassed about that than the GIMP.
Bye guys.